Yeah, thank you all. We will then roll into presentations, starting with Jeff Carlson from NSBA. I'll get yours pulled up here.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here today. It's funny, we drove by that bifurcated on-ramp for 71 and 35 this morning talking about it. So very ironic that came up again. My name is Jeff Carlson. I'm the Senior Director of Bridge Initiatives for the National Steel Bridge Alliance. Got a short 15-minute update on what's new with NSBA and AISC, some new initiatives we have going on, a lot of educational opportunities coming up, one of them in 2 days that I think a lot of people will be interested in. And so I'll just get right into it here. So some upcoming events. First one I'm going to mention is our steel conference, NASCC. And as a part of that, we do our World Steel Bridge Symposium. We have 25 bridge sessions, 1-hour bridge sessions. And these cover anything from fabrications to projects to academic presentations. A lot of new sessions this year. I'm actually working on the schedule as we speak. And as most people know, or at least at TxDOT, we do free registration and free travel. So anybody from TxDOT can come, and there's no limit on how many, and we will pay for your registration and also pay for your travel expenses. We don't pay for like extracurricular entertainment afterwards, but we do pay for travel or hotel, airfare, taxis, and stuff like that. So if you're interested, I know David is well aware of this, and Jamie Ferris is as well. So please talk to anybody if you're interested in coming to the event. It's in Louisville, Kentucky this year. Here are some notable events. A lot of things on, again, various projects. We do have a 2-hour industry roundtable where we hope to invite contractors, fabricators, design consultants, talk about any pressing issues that need to be discussed. We are also hosting a constructability workshop. It's a 4-hour workshop on Tuesday afternoon from 1 to 5. Last year, we had the workshop on curved girder design and fabrication. This year, we're doing one on constructability. And so if you're interested in that, it's an extra fee. I think it's like $20. The only reason we do that is we want to get people actually show up. So it causes problems when we get everybody say, yes, I'll come, it's free, but then nobody shows up. That really messes up the room size. So again, that's on Tuesday afternoon. We pay for all that. Again, DOTs are free to join there. We also have a webinar in 2 days. So most people know who Frank Caruso is. He's doing a project with us right now on standard plans for modern steel highway bridges. My next slide is some more information on that, but we have a free webinar for DOTs. It's paid for consultants, but all you need to do to register as a TxDOT employee is have an account on our membership portal, on our learning portal, and you can join for free. So if you haven't already and you want to, let me know and I can help get you hooked up to view that for free. But it's what this project is about. It's part of our Need for Speed project, but essentially it's developing standard plans for 1, 2, 3, and 4 span bridges, all the way up to, I believe, 350-foot span lengths, and this will be for plate girders. And so essentially this was built to make it easier to just simply pick off a design from the shelf. If you're in an emergency situation or you just want to do a design relatively quickly, you can at least understand what the sizes of the girders are going to need to be in order to get that design done quickly. Now, you still probably need to incorporate your own little details or whatever owner wants to do for details in that particular state, but this will at least get you 80 or 90% of the way there. In order to register, this is our new learning portal. So you need to go here and you need to create an account with us. It's free to create an account, but it does just, once you log in, all of this stuff that you've registered for is available. All the recordings are available. All of our recordings from the World Steel Bridge Symposium are there for free. The curved girder workshop from last year, for example, is on there. You can view it for free. So all this stuff can be accessed from our learning portal. Some new resources that are coming. This is finished. This is our Fundamentals of Steel Bridge Engineering. So this is some curriculum and coursework for university professors. But anybody can use it. You can use it as a consultant if you want, but it's intended to be for university professors. We found that a lot of universities don't have the curriculum and the expertise within their faculty to teach a steel bridge design course, and that's what this is intended to do. And so the presentations are done. This is a little bit of what's included in these. I'm not going to read through these. You can see for yourself, but anywhere from bridge planning to loads, shear, flexure, bearings, and bridge decks. This is all included, and there's a lecture for each one of these, and it's complete with course notes as well. So this is generally the format, obviously the presentation slide, but then there's also speaker notes for everything. So the the faculty member can really go through this and really learn how to provide a steel bridge design course to any class that they want to teach. Again, I said this is finished. We are working on the recordings. The recordings are actually done. So Frank is recording every single one of his lectures, but we're right now putting together quizzes so we can give out PDH credits for these. So that should be available soon, but the presentations are done. So this should be finished hopefully in the near future. We also want to develop an in-person short course for this, so 2 or 3 days, where we would hire Frank or Brandon Chevelle, my colleague, or anybody else to come in and deliver a 2 to 3 day short course. So we're working on that as we speak. So maybe we can come do one here at TxDOT perhaps. So some opportunities there. Want to mention that we do have some resources for railway design. I know this is a TxDOT meeting, but we just want to mention this. This will be short, but we've recently completed an ARIMA NSBA collaboration document for guidelines for design of steel railroad bridges for constructability and fabrication. So similar to our AASHTO NSBA collaboration, but this is the initial document that we're doing for ARIMA. And so this is done free. It's published on our website. You can get it at aisc.org/RRBridges. And again, that's free, but it's a new document that's just been released here in the last couple of months. Ongoing and proposed initiatives. First of all, a lot of people are probably familiar with our LRFD assignment program. This is free line girder analysis software. We recently finished an interim release, but it's only current to the 9th edition of the AASHTO code. We're going through a major overhaul, and it should be done later this year or first thing next year, where we're going to update everything to the 10th edition bridge design spec, and we're doing a major user face overhaul as well. So this should be coming up here in the next couple of months. But if you do go download this, we ask for your contact information, and that's only so that we can send you updates to the program itself. And so that's why we ask for that information. We're not going to bombard you with all kinds of solicitations, but we just want to let you know when there's new updates coming up. So just be on the lookout for that in the near future. This is something that's new. It's just in concept right now, but we're in discussions with the consultant to develop steel grade separation bridge standards. So for a typical grade separation bridge, just like the one you see here, there's a lot of these 4-span grade separation bridges across the U.S. over major interstates out in rural areas. And the motivation here is to replace this with a 2-span steel option and to come up with some standard details, standard plans for how this might work. You might say, well, you already have your standard plans that you just talked about. Well, that's true. We would just use those designs but incorporate it into some sort of package with some details, maybe some integral abutment details or various things to make these more standardized so that a fabricator or a designer can simply say, hey, just choose option 3 and then call a fabricator. They can say, hey, can you give me a conceptual price for this? And they can get back to you pretty quick with what that might cost. So that's the motivation for this. This is just in the works right now. It's just getting started. I would suspect to be done in the next year or two would be my guess for that. We have some existing publications that we're updating. I believe Dominic Coletti was here last year. Was it last year that he presented on the Navigating Routine Steel Bridge Design Guide? This is in the process of being updated, again, mainly to the 10th edition of the code. Similarly, for the Steel Bridge Design Handbook, that's something we completed a couple years ago where we took it over from the Federal Highway. It's now being maintained by us, and we're going through and giving that an update as well to get that updated to the 10th edition of the code. This is something that's being conceptualized right now, but our AASHTO NSBA Steel Bridge Collaboration Group, TG11, we're discussing with them to do an update to the cross-frame design guidelines. And so the intent here is to educate engineers about anything related to cross-frames. As we all know, cross-frames are an expensive part on a per pound basis of a steel bridge, and we want to make this more efficient and easier to fabricate for those reasons. And so this is a document that will be aimed at doing that. I have to give homage to Brandon Chevelle, my colleague. He's a Bills fan. He has to put, cross frames and inefficiencies in there. Anything to do with Josh Allen, he has to put in. I really should have changed that picture to something Broncos related because I'm a Broncos fan, but I was unable to update that slide. I regret that already. And last but not least, this is the intent though. The picture on the right is what we want to avoid in cross frames. That cross frame is way too big and bulky, and we want to provide guidance to engineers so that we can make these cross frames more efficient, because again, that's one of the more cost prohibitive items of a steel bridge. And so the more we can do to help that out, the better. So that's going to be the intent of this document. Something new. NSBA has recently embarked on an initiative to work with various AASHTO groups So how many are familiar with the approval process to get a corrosion protection systems? I'm going to use paint in this case to get a paint system approved by AASHTO. How many people are familiar with how that works? Not too many. So you might be familiar with NetPep. NetPep is now the AASHTO Product Evaluation and Evaluation Group, I believe. So when I say NetPep, that's really what I'm talking about. But all they really do is implement the test. So pretend a coating supplier, whether it be Sherwin-Williams or Carboline or PPG, comes out with a new paint system. They want owners to use it. They usually have to go through the NetPep testing. And that really, it's not like this works and this doesn't. It's not like an approval process. It just evaluates how it performs and it gives those results. All NetPep does is implement those tests. The group that actually writes policy for how those tests are conducted is an AASHTO Committee on Materials and Pavement. COMP is the acronym. The AASHTO COMP committee really is the committee that dictates how those protocols are run. And so we've started on a new initiative to work with them to develop a new testing protocol. The testing protocol is relatively out of date, and so we've started a conversation. They're open to this idea, but is what this little pyramid here is intended to be is ultimately NSBA wants to provide a durability guide for corrosion protection systems, whether it be weathering steel, paint systems, or those other systems as well. We want to provide guidance on how to best evaluate and maintain and create a durable steel bridge. And so the bottom thing there is what we're talking about. Possibly there's some new tests to develop to create a better protocol to make this more applicable to real life situations and what in exposure environments and what environmental categories need to be tested to properly evaluate steel bridge corrosion protection systems. So this is something that's in the works. It actually started with this. This is some TxDOT salt fog testing when Johnny Miller was still here at TxDOT that was running for a single coat of IOZ. Several years ago, we had the idea of testing a single coat of inorganic zinc. How does that perform? There's evidence that suggests that it really performs better than a 3-coat paint system. So let's prove this. And so we started to look at these tests, and this is after 4,000 hours. Clearly, those look pretty good, and there's a scribe in the middle of that test panel. So this is what we wanted to look into. But it was understood that a single coat of IOZ will not do well in the NetPep testing for various reasons. A lot of it is because there's certain soluble that's used is really not applicable or representative of the bridge environment. And so this is some motivation for why we're going down this road. And really, this is a lot of the reason is at NSBA, we recommend use the right system for the right application. So this is a cost of coating percentage survey. This is the percent increase over uncoated weathering steel. So uncoated weathering steel is the most cost-effective way or cost-effective steel corrosion protection system. All the rest of this is a general survey of what these other systems cost in addition to uncoated weathering steel. And so you can see here, it makes sense to start with the weathering steel. If that doesn't work, then to perhaps use or consider paint systems. If those don't work for whatever reason, then you could go to hot dip galvanizing or metallized systems. But generally, we recommend starting at weathering steel, go to paint systems if you have to. But again, this is why we want to get the complete picture for owners in terms of maintaining the bridge and also the upfront cost and the maintenance cost as well. So this is, again, some motivation for what we're doing. And last but not least, a coating testing survey. In order to do this work with the AASHTO Comp Committee, we wanted to collect some feedback. So I'm not sure, Teresa or David, if you guys have filled out this survey or maybe somebody at TxDOT. If not, here's the QR code. Well, we really want to get feedback from states of what are really the main issues that you guys are looking for if we do some new coatings test protocols. So I believe we're getting close to the end, and I do want to mention Todd. This is a good lead into his presentation next. That he's a recent recipient of the Structural Steel Research Council Award for 2025, the Lynn S. Beadle Award. So he's given a presentation, I believe, right, in Louisville. And so just want to, if you do attend, I don't know what day that is yet, not sure if you know yet, but it will be in Louisville in early April. So you can be on the lookout for that. So congratulations, Todd. And with that, I believe that's all I have.